Hello students, welcome to today's session. Today we are going to deal with the second part of Long Walk to Freedom. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War and before my own birth, the white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark skinned peoples of their own land. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane societies the world has ever known. Now, in the last decade of the 20th century and my own eighth decade as a man, that system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of all peoples, regardless of the color of their skin. Here, overwhelmed means have a strong emotional effect. Erected means built. Inhumane means cruel. Overturned means reverse. So, on the day of the inaugural ceremony, Mandela remembers the days of past when all this started, when the system of apartheid emerged. It was during the first decade of the 20th century, that is, from 1900 to 1910, after the Anglo Boer War. At that time, Mandela wasn't even born. The system of apartheid resulted in inequality and lesser consideration for dark skinned people. They were even deprived of their basic fundamental rights. Now, when Mandela is in his 80s, he, along with his countless supporters, have changed the world's most inhumane and brutal society into a free country in which humans are treated as humans, irrespective of their color, caste, gender, or age. That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. That long and noble line ended, now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. Here, unimaginable means difficult or impossible to imagine. Suffering means to undergo pain. Courage means bravery. Patriots means a person who loves and supports their country. Wrought means done or achieved. Mandela here says that this equal and free country is a result of countless sacrifices made by many brave patriots of this country. Unfortunately, Mandela can't thank them for their sacrifices because they all died fighting for this cause. Here, he really wants them to see what their courage and sacrifices had built and how a new era is going to begin with Mandela himself. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that profound hurt. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Tambos, the Walter Sisulu, the Chief Luthulus, the Joseph Dados, the Bram Fishers, the Robert Subukwis of our time. Men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom, and generosity that there like may never be born again. Perhaps it requires such depths of oppression to create such heights of character. My country is rich in the minerals and germs that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. Here, profound means deep and strong. Brutality means cruelty. Wisdom means the state of being wise. Here, Mandela says that it will take a long period of time for the people of Africa to recover from the extreme pain brought by the policy of apartheid. Though it had its negative sides mostly, it also did something good in Africa. This policy brought out some strong and courageous men who stood up for what is right and raised their voice against the wrong. He says, people like Oliver Tambo, Yusuf Jadu, and all others not only possessed courage but also wisdom and generosity. People like them may never be seen again. So he says that such an inhumane policy brought them the greatest men that their country had ever seen. He adds that South Africa is rich in minerals and gems, but its greatest strength is its people. It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Time and again, I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing us the strength and resilience that defies the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Here, comrade means a fellow member of an organization. Torture means a method of inflicting severe pain. Resilience means the ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effects. Defies means refuses to obey. Triumph means great victory or achievement. Conquers means to gain victory over. Mandela here says that from the above mentioned people and many more like them, he understood the meaning of courage. He has seen men and women who have risked their lives for freedom and tolerated ill treatment, but never stopped fighting. And the willpower of these people can't even be imagined. From them, he learned that courage doesn't mean that you are not afraid or scared or don't fear anything, but it is the ability to overcome fear. You have to win over your fear. That makes you a brave person. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposites. Even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of those guards. Perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. Here, grimmest means very serious. Glimmer means shine faintly with a wavering light. Reassure means say or do something to remove the doubts. In this paragraph, Mandela says that at the time of birth, you don't hate any other person on the basis of their color, age, gender, or religion. It is the society that makes a person hate another. He adds that people must know what hate is. Then only they can understand love, and love is more natural than hatred. And people eventually love one another for sure. Even in the most testing times in prison, when Mandela and his comrades were treated brutally, he was able to see a small amount of humanity and kindness in one of the guards, and that was enough to keep him going on. He strongly believes that goodness in humanity can be hidden, but you can't take it away from them. In life, every man has twin obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children, and he has an obligation to his people, his community, his country. In a civil and humane society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations and abilities. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill both those obligations. In South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart, a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. I did not, in the beginning, choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligations as a son, a brother, a father, and a husband. Here, Obligation means a duty or a commitment. Inclination means natural tendencies of behavior. Inevitably means unavoidably. Twilight means semi darkness. Secrecy means the action of keeping something secret. Rebellion means the act of resisting authority. So, according to Mandela, every human being has two kinds of duty or commitment. First is towards his family, and the other is to his country. Generally, a person can maintain the balance between these two duties. But in countries like South Africa, it was never so easy. When a black man would come up fighting for his society, he would be arrested and taken away from his family. Thus, he can neither fulfill his duty towards his country nor towards his family. In the beginning, he did not give importance to the people over his family. But as he started to understand the sufferings of his people, he started caring and fighting for them, which ultimately made him compromise his duties towards his own family. Because, as we all know, Mandela spent 27 years in jail fighting for equality. So, he was not there for his family. I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free, free in every way that I could know. Free to run in the fields near my mother's hut, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village, free to roast mealies under the stars and ride the broad backs of slow moving bulls. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion, when I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself, the transitory freedoms of being able to stay out at night, read what I pleased, and go where I chose. Later, as a young man in Johnsonburg, I yearned for the basic and honorable freedoms of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying and having a family, the freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. Here, stream means a small, narrow river. Mealis means a maize plant. Abided means obeyed. Boyhood means the state or time of being a boy. Illusion means a false idea or belief. Transitory means not permanent. Yearn means have an intense feeling or longing for something. In this paragraph, Mandela says that when we are born, we don't know what freedom and restriction is. Like that, Mandela was also born carefree. To his knowledge, he was free because he was able to swim in the stream, ran through the village, and eat all the grains he wanted. For him, as long as he obeyed his father and followed the customs and traditions of the tribe in which he belonged to, he was safe and free. He was non care of the laws of man and even God. But as he grew older, he started to realize that his idea of freedom was a false belief and his freedom was already been taken away from him. When that realization struck him, he began to crave for it. But he soon realized that not only him, but the people of color are treated very badly, and he decided to stand against it. At first, he fought for his own freedom, like any other young man, to stay out at night, read what book he like, and all those things what a young man will crave for. But when he was in Johannesburg, he had to struggle and fight for having a peaceful marriage, earning for his own family, and to live a lawful life where his life is not threatened each and every day, even if he follows the right rules and regulations of that place. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed, but the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. That is when I joined the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom of my people. It was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self respect that animated my life, that transformed a frightened young man into a bold one, that drove a law abiding attorney to become a criminal, that turned a family loving husband into a man without a home, that forced a life loving man to live like a monk. I am no more virtuous or self sacrificing than the next man, but I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. Freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. Here, curtailed means reduce or impose a restriction on. Dignity means the quality of being worthy of honor. Frightened means afraid or anxious. Virtuous means showing high moral standards. Indivisible means unable to be divided or separated. So, when Mandela finally realized the discrimination faced by the people of color, that is the blacks, he joined the African National Congress. He wanted to free people like him from the chains of racial discrimination. This fire for freedom changed Mandela as a man, from being scared to brave, from being a lawyer to someone who was forced to break the law for justice. He became a man without a home, from a live person to a monk. He says he is not greater than any other man, but he was not able to be a mere spectator of what is going on in front of his eyes. He was not able to stand still when others are snatched away of their freedom. According to Mandela, freedom was indivisible. That means we cannot divide freedom. And snatching it away from someone was equal to taking it away from everyone. And taking it away from everyone meant ultimately taking it away from Mandela himself. That's how he related to the people of Africa. That's how he related himself with each and every other person who was suffering, who was in pain, who was denied of freedom. I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow mindedness. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. Prejudice means a strong dislike without any good reason, and the whites are referred as oppressor and the blacks as oppressed in this session. Okay, so Mandela here says that not only the oppressed, that is the blacks, but also the oppressor should also be liberated, that is the whites. Okay, not only the blacks but also the whites also should be liberated. Why he says like that? Let's see. Okay, because the oppressor is also the prisoner of hatred, and he is locked up by his own dislike towards the colored, that is the blacks, just because of their color, no other valid reason, only because of their color. He adds that when you take away someone else's freedom and make them a prisoner, you also becomes the prisoner of your own hatred. And he says that when you imprison someone without any valid kind of reasons, you are actually making yourself what, a prisoner, because you, when doing all these kind of things, you are depriving yourself of your most valuable quality, that is your humanity. So you are deprived of your humanity, and that's why you are doing all these kind of things. So not only you are deprived, but the other end person is also deprived of humanity. So thus both the oppressor and the oppressed are deprived of their humanity, and the both sides needs to be liberated in order to be free from everything, free from the chains of everything. Okay, so Mandela here tells us what, tells us the importance of freedom, And he also says that courage is not the absence of fear, and he says through his actions that nothing is impossible. Okay, so that's all with the chapter. I hope you understood everything. Thank you.